minutes with our O-lineman, our junior from Syracuse. We'll take the first question to our left. Matthew, about the fourth row. Three guys each with their hands. Let's see how many we get to.
Matt Bonaparte, Lockdown Syracuse. Matthew, this year you are a leader big time. So what are you doing differently to prepare this season than you did before to be a leader?
I feel like this offseason I've been more vocal and leading by example for the young guys.
Let's keep it right there, Matthew. Contestant number two.
John Eads with Orange Fizz. You've been under Coach Mike Schmidt, the offensive line coach, for a full year now. How did the unit progress under year one with him, and how have you seen yourself grow under his leadership?
Man, I already saw my game change from last year to this year's spring ball. Me and Coach Schmidt, we developed a good relationship over our time together, and I'm excited to show y'all what we've been working on behind closed doors.
Stay right there, Matthew. The third one.
Hey Matthew, John Dales, WAER. Is it a little bit difficult to pass block for a quarterback like Garrett, where you could be locked up with somebody and then suddenly 1 second later, thinking that he's back in the pocket, he's scrambling and you have to let go?
Well, I wouldn't call it difficult. I think it's a little bit different than what I've been used to. But I'm excited about it. It creates a little fun to the game. And it's fun blocking for Garrett. So yeah, I love it.
We're going to shuffle that microphone back towards our first row, right in front of you, Matthew, on the left. Right in front.
Dan Tortora, WakeUpCallDT.com. You played left tackle and right tackle on this offensive line. Just what you can say about your versatility, and if there's a place where you have felt more comfortable, be it the blind side, or if you don't mind switching back and forth.
So I've been lucky to be in a position where I could play at as a freshman. I started as a right tackle my freshman year. Sophomore year started as a right tackle. Then in the middle of the season switched to left tackle, and I've played left tackle ever since. And I felt like I've been really comfortable at that left tackle spot, and I think that's a spot where I'm gonna keep going as a player.
Matthew, right up the center aisle to the right at the edge.
How would you describe the offense now with Coach and I's input? How would you kind of sum up or give a not too in-depth scouting report, because you don't want to give away any secrets, but what can you kind of tell us about what he's brought to the offense?
What I can tell you is I think we'll be more explosive, run game and passing game. You guys just saw last year the way we was running the ball, and I think we'll be a little bit more balanced next year.
Matthew, we're going to hustle the microphone back to your left, fourth row, back to John again.
John Eads with Orange Fizz. I saw a stat that you're credited with opening up holes and allowing Sean Tucker to run for 4 yards per carry. What do you do in the run game to allow you to open up space for him to be so successful?
I mean, I'm blessed to be blocking for one of the best running backs in college football right now, and just doing my job. And whenever I miss a block, I got a guy like Sean Tucker in the backfield that can make it happen. So I'm really blessed to be blocking for Sean Tucker.
Matthew, from the podium, you were relatively unrecruited. Why do you think that was, and why was Syracuse such a good fit?
I mean, being from Canada, and they have a lot of offers or whatever. I came down for a camp, got an offer, and it was Syracuse. Got to Syracuse, things happened. I ended up being in the mix, and I never left the field ever since. So I've been working hard for this, and I'm excited to be in this position.
So being from Canada, excuse me for not knowing, how's your French?
My French is really good. It was my first language. I learned English through school. A little bit how you guys learn Spanish in school.
So you want to give us a little sample?
What do you want me to say?
It's a great week here in Charlotte. I'm proud to represent Syracuse.
C'est une bonne semaine aujourd'hui à Charlotte. Je suis content de représenter l'Université de Syracuse.
Very well done.
Thank you.
We'll go back to John as we've got 1 or 2 more minutes to your left there.
Hey, John, Orange Fizz again. You started 28 consecutive games. What do you want to add to your game this season to be most ready for the NFL potentially next year?
I'd say I would like to be more consistent as a player, work on my hand placement, because I feel like last year I got in trouble, in pass protection when guys get into my chest, and I've been working on that with Coach Mike Schmidt, and I think that's going to translate next level. In the NFL, you got to be consistent with your hands and stuff, because they got a lot of good rushers and stuff. Yeah.
Matthew, last question before we excuse you. From the podium here on Twitter on June 9th, there was a picture of you at a cookout. What is your favorite cookout food?
Ever since I got into America, I think the ribs, man. The ribs, I feel in love with American ribs. I still gotta go to, down south, explore the barbecue. I've heard a lot of, good stuff about Texas. So it might be my next vacation spot.
On that note, you can switch over to Michael. We appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
We've got about 5 minutes with our junior linebacker. And let's go ahead and send the first question to the front row. Michael, just to your left with Dan.
Michael, we've seen a lot of positive things that have happened on this defense last season going into this year. Your decision to be a part of the team here in 2022, just what you can say about your leadership and what you see from the rest of this unit that makes you believe that the defense can be even stronger this year.
I feel like I am growing as a leader, and growing as a leader, I feel like bringing other guys like Marlo Wax, Stephon Thompson, the guys who play next to me, I feel like I help bring leaders out of them too, and it's just helping the team and the defense overall.
We'll go with our trio there on the left, fourth row.
Matt Bonaparte, lockdown Syracuse. Michael, like Dan said, you had a decision last season of whether to go to the NFL or come back to Syracuse. What ultimately led you to come back to the team this season?
It was in my best interest and my best team interest to come back to get better, honestly.
We're going to stick right there for the next two questions.
Johnny, it's Orange Fizz. You don't really have any question marks on defense in the second level. They're all really up front on the D-line with all the guys that left last year. Are you confident in that unit and that it can be serviceable for you this year?
I'm sorry, I can hear you.
Are you confident that the D-line can be serviceable this year despite being young, so fresh, and perhaps undersized?
Yes, sir, I am confident in this D-line coming up. They don't have a lot of experience, but the guys who have played last season, I feel like they showed what they can do.
Stay right there.
Hey, we come from John Dale's WAER. You look ahead to week 1, you have Louisville. How tough of a challenge is that for the defense with an explosive offense and an explosive quarterback like Willie Cunningham?
We see that as a good opportunity. We don't think it's going to be a tough challenge. We're excited to play those guys the first week.
Michael, we're going to take what Nick is. You're moving. Let's catch the young lady right there by the wall.
Kayla McCarthy, Charlotte Sports Live. Mikel, Dino described you a lot as a quarterback of that defense. Are you going to continue to be a leader for the defense?
Yes, ma'am. I do consider being a great leader for this defense, along with the linebackers and our secondary leadership. Garrett Williams, Jahad Carter, those guys have stepped up this offseason to be more vocal and lead by example, lead from the front. I feel like it filters through the defense and also the offense.
Back to the front row, right in front of you to the left.
Michael, I know that you may be partial to this answer that I'm about to ask you, but Sean Tucker, in your opinion, is there a better back going into 2022 in all of college football?
Nobody's answer because he's my teammate, but that's the best running back I played all 4 years here, and playing in the ACC.
We're going to stay on the left-hand side. We're going to go back to the third row.
Bob Holliday, WRL.com. Michael, Syracuse quietly became one of the best defenses in the league last year. Here's the thing, you were second in rushing defense, second in pass defense, second in total defense, but only sixth in scoring defense. You got almost everybody back. What do you have to do to get more credit for the good stops that you make and give up fewer points?
Focus on the turnovers more. I remember 2020 season. I'm not 100% sure, but I knew we were top 3 turnovers, probably top 2. So just getting back to those old habits. We got a lot of experienced guys who are capable of making turnovers and turning it into points. So I feel like that's what we're going to get back to this season.
Michael, just over here, shoulder back to John.
Johnny, it's Orange Fizz. This is probably going to be your last season of college football before you go pro. Almost did last year. When you leave and you look back on this season, on this team, how would you label success?
It's going to be a long time coming success. I haven't been in a bowl game since I've been here. And I understand like my class, people who came in my class in 2019 who stayed along the journey of the wins and the losses, and a little bit more of the losses. It's going to be a good feeling looking back and seeing what we do this season. I'm having a great season.
Michael, from the podium, your presence on the field obviously makes the Orange better, but how do your teammates and how does Syracuse make you better?
the support system. My teammates are so supportive. When I came on my official visit, that was one of the biggest reasons, just seeing the culture that Coach Babers had brought to the team. And then not only the coaches, the people in the academic building, it's always a lot of support. Nobody won't let you fall on your face unless you absolutely want to do it yourself.
Michael, thank you. You can switch spots with Garrett now. Garrett, as you approach the podium, welcome home. We'd like our first question for Garrett. We're going to go to our right, just up the aisle. The gentleman right at the edge, about the 5th row up.
Garrett, Mike Barber from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'm curious how you've kind of begun laying the foundation for your relationship with the new offensive coaches, coordinator and quarterback coach. What has that process been like, and how are you enjoying those guys?
It's been awesome. It all started with, I had a little bit of background with the area, the same system they came with when I played under Mike Leach in Mississippi State. So that was good common ground. A lot of stuff that we were running I already knew, I was familiar with, so that was awesome. But, I love those guys. They coach you hard with passion, and it takes a little bit off of everybody else because they will absolutely coach you hard. And, my job is just to try to be an extension of them, be the coach on the field and be able to get all these guys right and get them where they need to be. Obviously these guys here as well. Matthew Bergeron, he sets the tone from up front because you can't do anything on the offensive line. He's clearly the leader in that group. But, just trying to be an extension of them. And I think it's been good so far. And we're content where we know we are right now, but we know where we need to be come this fall.
Front row to your left.
Dan Tortora with GoodCallDT.com. Garrett, you and Sean Tucker combined on the ground for over 2,200 yards last season. Just what you can say it means to you to be in this offense as a part of that tandem. And then secondly, on the passing side of it, just what Coach Beck is doing to open up your game a little bit more so we can see what else you can do on the field.
Yeah, as far as the run game goes, we'll address that first. It starts up front. First and foremost, we got a great offensive line that are doing a lot of good things. We got a great running back, obviously Sean Tucker. He can do a lot of things, very versatile. But a lot of things that most people don't see that kind of goes unnoticed is the coaching staff. How creative we actually get in our run game and putting us in the best situation to be having one-on-ones or be running on air basically most of the time. That's the credit we get given to, but that definitely will be addressed. The position that they put us in to be successful in the run game. And moving on to the new staff and offensive wise, they're doing the same thing we've been doing last year, keeping that and then bringing what they brought from Virginia. And it's not necessarily a concern of if we can get the job done because we know we're more than capable and competent. And we got a lot of receivers that didn't get a chance to show themselves, but we got some names that will be big this year. Put on a lot of good plays. We're looking forward to it, and we're going to be explosive this year. We'll say that in both aspects of it.
To your left, 4th row.
Hey, Garrett. Matt Bonaparte, Lockdown, Syracuse. Two new quarterbacks in the locker room with you now. What's your relationship like with the new guys?
It's been good. We got a good group of guys. They're a little bit younger, a little bit less experienced, but our room was a little bit dwindled down due to the transfer portal and other reasons. But we got a good group. We feel a little bit better. We lost one key aspect of our room too earlier this year, spring. So just continue to get those guys, trying to bring those guys along. There's a big learning curve, especially because this is my 4th offense in 4 years. So one of those I wasn't even playing quarterback. But so I've seen a lot of football and learned a lot of those systems, but I've been playing the whole time versus these guys who are just trying to learn a new system and not hadn't necessarily had experience. So just trying to bring those guys along and trying to help them out as best I can, because we're all in the same goal, same mission.
Keep it right there on the 4th row.
John Yates, Orange Fizz, you just mentioned it, your 4th different offense in 4 years. Is this offense the most tailor-made to fit your skill set? And how do you feel going into what I guess would be the 2nd year in this offense, even though it's a coordinator?
Oh, yeah. This is the most excited I've been since I've been in college for a football season. And part of that is just because I feel like it's my offense, my team, that I can it can go wherever I decide to take it. And, these coaches have done a great job. They're really, really exciting to play for and just have coaching on the field. But moving forward, we got all the pieces we need. Now we just got to go out and they're giving Coach Babers and giving us all the support staff and the tools that we need. So we just got to go ahead and do it. And that's what we're looking forward to. We're excited because we're going to be given an opportunity.
still in the fourth row there.
Hey Garrett, John Dales, WAER. You mentioned a couple of the wide receivers going under the radar coming into this season. Could you elaborate a little bit on that and what your chemistry with them has been like throughout the offseason?
So in terms of the air raid, that background that they have, we've been given the framework, and within that, we're running our offense based off the defense. And I built a little bit of a chemistry with those guys, but even last year, I wouldn't start until week 4. So just continuing, we were growing the whole time last year. It wasn't like that was a finished product at all. But then we get new system. We got a little bit of structure, but we're just continuing to work on those fine details. But we got a great group of receivers, and I'm excited about what we're going to be doing this year.
Garrett, your last question from the podium. Your father has called you an old soul. Why is that?
I listen to the same music that he listens to. That's part of it. 70s, listen to Eagles and all that stuff. But I don't have a lot of social media and all that stuff, so I don't really care for it either. But that's probably the biggest reason. I like to hang out with people. I like to be with my guys. Got a good group of guys, and that's all I really need.
Garrett, thank you. Syracuse, good luck this year. You guys are excused for other adventures. We appreciate the time. Folks,